Our heroes have returned back into the future timeline to further verify Zamasu's existence, but only to learn that he and Black are still alive and well as Zamasu reveals his terrifying Zero Mortals plan in hopes of destroying everything. What's going on, Dragon Ball Super fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 61 review entitled Zamasu's Ambition, the terrifying Zero Mortals plan, leading into next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Super episode 62. Now again guys, keep in mind this video will contain massive amounts of spoilers, so if you guys don't want anything ruined for you, simply fast forward the video, go watch the episode, come back so we can talk more Dragon Ball Super down in the comments. Don't cry in the comments about being spoiled by the thumbnail or any of that, because nothing is being said or shown that you guys don't already know. Also be sure to check out the description down below for lots of goodies, updates, and contact information to where we can interact on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That way we can talk more Dragon Ball Super. And again, quick plugs before we begin. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for all latest in Dragon Ball news, updates, What If Battles, Xenoverse 2, and much more daily uploads and daily content for you all to watch and enjoy. So I thank you so much for supporting the channel greatly, as I always do. Be sure to spread the word about Unreal ENT Gaming. The translations were provided by Herms98 on Twitter, just in case you guys are wondering how I was able to pick up on the dialogue prior to the subs coming out. And with that being said, on to the episode now. Very similar to Dragon Ball Super episode 57, this episode, to sum it up in a nutshell, was a complete war zone. From start to finish, we had interesting moments occur to where we have a 2-on-3 scenario happen, and even with 2 Super Saiyan Blues and 1 Super Saiyan 2, it seems as if Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku could not get the job done against Zamasu and Black. And for those of you out there who have learned about the upcoming Dragon Ball Super spoilers, then you guys already know everything that's going to happen. I will not reveal that here. I will discuss more or less of that in the breakdown review. So if you guys don't know what happens in Dragon Ball Super episode 62 to 65, I really recommend you guys to go ahead and check out my previous videos. But for those of you out there who have already learned about what's going to happen, and you guys know that shit is going to go down. So we actually start this episode right where we left off, with everybody in the future, and we see how Zamasu is beginning to explain himself to Goku, with Goku asking, if you're Zamasu, then who's the other one, with Zamasu replying by saying, I'm this world's Zamasu, the future one from your perspective. In which case, we also see how Gowasu further explains how he teamed up with past Zamasu in order to destroy what was left, and Goku replied by saying, but you were destroyed and I saw it, and Black said, it's thanks to the time ring, thanks to it, nothing in the past can affect me. So we notice how, thanks to the time ring, nothing that was caused or created by Beerus in the past would ultimately affect anybody in the future, and Black explains that he killed Gowasu to become a Kaioshin in order to take the time ring. And in any essence, we see how Goku and Vegeta go up against, Black and Zamasu, and we see how Goku pretty much unleashed a ki blast directly in Zamasu's face, in which had no effect because Zamasu is immortal, and we see how Black just came right out of the blue trying to cut Goku's head off, in which case pushes him right into the dirt. And Vegeta says, are you okay, Trunks? And Trunks says yes. And we see how Black and Zamasu begin to brag that their companionship and their teamwork can never be rivaled with because they are one, and of course they're working as a cohesive unit. They're actually fighting as if they're one. And we also get to see how Black pretty much killed off Gowasu during that time, but we also get to see how Black bared 2 Potara earrings on his ear, so we also bear witness to Black being the one to extend his companionship to Zamasu after killing off Gowasu. And Black says to future Zamasu after killing Gowasu, you wanted to do the same thing, right? Now you're a Kaioshin. And Black said, I wanted someone who would share my ideals, namely himself in the future. So Zamasu says, who are you? And Black says, I am you and I need your help. And oddly enough, they hug it out, and he extends one of the Potara earrings to Zamasu before he was going to kill Gowasu off. And Zamasu says, then I used the Super Giant Dragon Balls to become immortal after getting their wish. They blew them up and started killing gods. So obviously enough, after they got their wish, they went on ahead to start destroying gods because they knew about the Kaioshin and the Hakaioshin relation, so they went on ahead to destroy the remainder of the Kaioshin in order to rid that of the gods of destruction. That way nobody stands in their way. So ultimately enough, if you guys ask yourselves, well, who came first, according to what was said and what was shown, I think that Black was the one that obviously enough came first during all this, because he was the one that offered his extension to Zamasu before killing off his, his master and whatnot. So we see how Black is just talking about their brilliant plan to kill all mortals to make the world a much better place. And Black says, Now the only authority in this world is us. No gods, nobody else to stand in our way. So we also see how Goku and Vegeta fight Black and Zamasu, and it goes without question that Black and Zamasu are fighting as such a great pair, because we see Black easily beat down Vegeta and Trunks as he kicked Vegeta and Trunks into a building together, and we see how Zamasu and Black were ultimately enough, you know, blasting energy waves towards them and whatnot. So they fight as such a unit to where Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks were having such a hard time, because as many times Goku tried to catch Zamasu off guard, Black would be there. As many times as Vegeta would try to catch Black off guard, we see Zamasu would be there. So every single time either person tried to make a move, it was incredibly hard because the other person would be there. So we see how Black is just simply having, you know, the time of his life trying to toy around with them before extending and going on further with his Zero Mortal plan. So we understand now that the Zero Mortal plan is to destroy the gods, is to destroy the Kaioshin, and of course to destroy all forms of mortals who in their eyes are unworthy of living in this world. So we see how Zamasu tells Goku, you know, want to know what happened to your family? And Goku says, my family. And apparently Earthlings suck more now than ever because they're the reason why, you know, all this is happening. But Black specifically told everyone, like, there is no authority. We are the authority in this timeline. We are the governance of this world, and there is nobody legit to stop us. In which case, we do understand that in Dragon Ball Super episode 63, 64, and 65, something really big is going to happen. But just looking at what happened in this episode, we see how Black and Zamasu, the way they're beating down Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, it's ruthless enough. Now imagine combining that. That's scary enough as it is. And even after the momentary battles, we also see how Zamasu begins to explain to Goku about practically everything that had happened to his family. And we see how Zamasu had switched bodies with a version of Goku that happened to had been working in the field, and we see how Goten was pretty much petrified because when he saw his father become some green alien, he kind of like freaked out. So Goku was freaking out that, you know, like all of a sudden he was just weird looking. We see how Chi-Chi was like really disturbed by this. So we see how Zamasu begins to explain how he used the Super Dragon Balls to go on ahead and switch bodies with Goku. So which timeline Goku we're talking about here? This could be the very Goku that we saw during the opening of Dragon Ball Super when it first aired in July, because if you guys remember, that was when Goku was working in the fields. That was when Goku was pretty much, you know, just with Chi-Chi and whatnot. So Zamasu begins to explain that after switching bodies, you know, he went on ahead to kill his family, and we see how Goku gets stabbed. We see Zamasu also stab Goku, and Goku is literally on the verge of dying here, and he was stabbed by the hands of Black, very similar to Vegeta. And honestly, he kept pushing the saber deeper into Goku's body, and he was explaining to him that it's very similar to how, you know, after they switched bodies, that was the exact same thing he did. They went on ahead to slay his family. He killed Chi-Chi, he killed Goten, and at that very moment, even after being stabbed, Goku completely snapped. And the first person he went for, he didn't go for the guy that was talking shit, he went straight for Black, and he was pretty much like enraged, and he was actually giving Black a very tough time. Goku powered up, obviously enough, he said, I'm really angry now, and he was making light of Zamasu. Actually, he kind of like knuckled him into the building, but he was primarily focused on Black because it was Black that killed Chi-Chi, it was Black that killed Goten, it was Black that was the one responsible of hurting his family, and Goku was very angry. Even looking upon himself, Goku was gonna go on ahead and punch Black's lights out. He was gonna just cave his entire head in. And we also see how Zamasu yet again was, you know, in the building, and we see how Black blew a hole yet again inside of Goku. So Goku in this episode was the primary focus because he was the one that got blasted in the chest again. He got stabbed in the chest. So Goku took a ton of damage here, and then we see Black pretty much you know, unleash his saber. It extended even longer, and he just blew various holes in Goku's body, and Goku literally couldn't fend out of this because the way Black was cutting holes in Goku's body, you would presume that Goku was dead. So We see how Vegeta and Trunks are watching how Goku took an unmerciful beating, and it really was that bad. But we also see how Trunks is siding with Vegeta after Zamasu says, now it's your turn, presuming enough that, you know, Goku's dead and whatnot. But either way, Goku took most of the damage in this episode. He got stabbed, he got, you know, just blown right, like energy waves like blown right through his body. And Black says, truly a Saiyan body is a god's greatest blessing. The more it gets hit, the stronger it grows. And Black's growing stronger by the minute. So Black is like freakishly improving, even while getting his ass whipped. Black does not care. He keeps gradually improving. He keeps gradually getting stronger. So the main vocal point here, I think, is Black, because as much, you know, dirty talking as Zamasu does, the main focal point here is, of course, Black, because Black is the one that's literally doing all the dirty work. And Trunks says, I'll take you on, Black. And Vegeta says, what? You don't stand a chance. And Trunks says, you know, I will try. And Black just looks upon Trunks and he says, you know, I was toying around with you before, and I can make easy work of you now because you're nothing compared to anyone here. Making light of Trunks, because obviously enough, we know that Trunks can't really compare to Black's power. And Black says a big reason he wanted to kill mortals is because of Trunks breaking the divine rule against time travel. So it's kind of weird how Black is saying, you know, you were the one that defined time, and I'm gonna be the one to shut you down for breaking those rules, when in fact we see how Black and Zamasu are breaking rules. But we also get to see how they're both talking trash at the exact same time, and telling Trunks that he's pretty much finished. But Trunks did not give up, because he turned into a Super Saiyan 2, and yet again he charged right at Black, and Zamasu stopped him. So it's scary enough to see that literally nobody had, you know, any chance here, and Black blew a hole through Trunks' body. So now we have two people down. I told you guys this before, it was gonna get crazy, and it did, because now we have Goku with a giant wound in his body, multiple wounds that, you know, pretty much depict, you know, holes in his body. We have Trunks, who pretty much just got another hole blown through his body, and now it's just down to Vegeta. And I'm telling you all right now, this was more or less a nitpicking episode, because we saw how Black nitpicked it at Goku first. He focused more on him before stabbing him, then he grabbed Trunks and pretty much blew a hole through him. And now, of course, next up on the list is Trunks, and we see how Mai, Bulma, and Yajirobe ran to try to rescue Trunks, but Trunks was way too injured to even do anything. But they actually stopped because Trunks realized that he was pretty much failing. And even while Trunks is on the ground, we see how he's very angry on the fact that he cannot continue this fight because he knows he is outmatched. But then something happens in the very end that is absolutely shocking. Trunks seems to have transformed with God Ki around him. He is still a Super Saiyan, but something is up with Trunks. Trunks has seemed to have tapped into a level never before seen, at least for him, and in which case he is still a Super Saiyan with God aura all around him, guys. It was insane. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below on your overall thoughts on this episode. To me, this was one of the best episodes so far. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. As always, guys, if you guys are fans, don't forget to subscribe for more daily information. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to finger that like button, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching, as always, guys, and I will be seeing you all in the breakdown review. Take it easy, guys. Peace!